Okay. So you spin the call Superman wheel.
Didn't feel like a spin per se, but
Yeah, let's press it down a little bit.
okay.
That'd be fun.
What is that one?
Superman not available. Proceed alone on your next turn.
Okay.
He's like, nah, I'm good.
And welcome back to the Men of Steel podcast. I'm Case Aiken, and in the room with me for the first time in literal years, I've got my co-host, Jmike Folsom.
I mean, you make it sound like it's been so long. It's only been like 5 years.
I know. So, listeners, this is a monumental moment for us because we actually haven't recorded live since the pandemic, and as a result, we actually haven't seen each other since the pandemic started.
It's been so long.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of wild. But yeah, so we're here live. We also have Keith from We Have Issues.
Hello.
And we are sitting around the Superman board game that we just played.
Yes.
Yeah, so I figured there had to be a retro board game for Superman, and I was goddamn right. So we just played Calling Superman, which is a news game, but Superman helps you. We had Keith visiting, and J-Mike came over, and we were able to actually play this live.
I lost.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Depending on how this editing spoilers.
Yeah, so we're kind of curious how this is going to go. We recorded the audio of us playing, but, you know, it's just a lot of us cursing at each other.
Cursing at Superman.
Hey, I get to call Superman. Superman's not available for me either. Superman a hater. Back to call Superman. I'm like, pick up, dude.
So now
You're up.
I need to call Superman.
Superman has not heard your call.
Aren't you Jimmy Olsen? You have the signal watch.
You got the watch, right? Bro.
He's left you on a red.
He's just hanging out with Perry. Him and Perry are getting like street meat. Okay, no, Superman's not available for me. Come on, Clark. Yes, my boy. Let's go.
Keith has possession of Superman.
Let's go, bro. I heard your call. Okay. He's too busy carrying me over a train.
Yeah, Superman. Okay.
He's like, y'all are needy. Superman gets my call. Thank you. Cool. Yes. He's standing next to you.
Sorry, there's a lot of interference.
It's
It's like when you're on the phone and the person's in the same room, so you're getting the echo going. It's like, I can't make out what you're saying.
Superman, we had talk.
Not available.
Okay, you know.
Hey, yo.
I mean, come on, dude.
Oh,
Yes. Cool.
No. Call Superman. Is he going to answer your phone now?
I'm not a praying man. You're out there.
He's sitting there waiting for me to call. Superman has stopped the bank robbery.
Okay. And does he have an urgent call somewhere? No.
No, he's busy. Do it. Thank God.
Superman not available.
Oh, man, you got to be kidding me.
Who are you going to call?
Superman.
So in the game, you're just playing like generic cub reporters. We decided to claim that we were respective members of the Daily Planet staff. Mm-hmm. So you were claiming to be Lana Lang in this scenario.
You got damn right.
I was calling myself Jimmy Olsen, and J-Mike was calling himself Perry White.
Yay. He still lost though.
Which we should note that Lois Lane is actually one of the challenges on the board. So like it makes sense that none of us were Lois.
Yeah. I think that's one of the missed opportunities here for me. And again, this might be a time of the age. They have this really cool Superman stand-up that I really like. And I'm like, they could have made a Jimmy Olsen and a couple others to be the things. Instead, we got some pretty generic-looking sorry little figures.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, so the basic deal is you're a reporter. You start at the Daily Planet, and then you draw a card that tells you what your news assignment is. And you have to navigate the board to get to that assignment. And I think the deal is once you get to the assignment, you have to call Superman to save the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to make it back to the Daily Planet to hand in your story. And then you go and do another one. And so you could theoretically make this like a massive game where everyone has a ton of assignments.
Yeah. I was thinking like a play until you're out of assignments
right.
and see who gets in the most. Yeah. It's interesting that all the assignments are like essentially natural disaster-ish and nothing to do with any villain.
Oh, you got the bank robbers thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I was looking for like a, you know.
Enter gang.
Yeah. Brainiac is taking over, blah, 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 or something.
But
Toyman.
So this came out in 1954.
Yeah, it's true.
So in terms of like the pantheon of Superman villains, there's not that many at this point. Like Metallo would be in here. Mr. Mix's Spitlick could be in here. Obviously, Lex Luthor could be in there.
They weren't brands either,
right,
at that point, like they are now. Yeah. But yeah, it's fun. I like the complexity of it. It's surprisingly complex for the time.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of pieces that are impediments or potential aids. And those are the kind of fun ones. And then there's the phone. They missed a golden opportunity for it to be a phone booth.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I was thinking the exact thing.
So there's the phone that you can call Superman on. It's not a signal watch also, which is the other thing. But you can call Superman, and he allows you to bypass any of the impediments that are on the board. The impediments, the big two, are the detour signs, which stop you in your tracks or cause you to go back 3 squares if you end on the detour. And the red lights stop you in your tracks or causes you to lose your next turn, which sounds like the red light's worse, but honestly, considering how many ones that we were rolling, I would honestly say the detour might actually be worse.
I hit a red light and had to skip a turn. I think I'm the only person who had to skip a turn.
I did too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it did slow me down significantly.
Yeah. You ended up winning right after that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And then there's the travel options, which honestly are as dangerous as they are good, which is there's a taxi, a plane, and a train that will move you a certain number of spaces. Trains move you forward 1 space, planes 2 spaces, and taxis you re-roll. But they only go in the direction that they're facing, which means that if you are 1 away from any of these and you roll a 1, it is likely you're going in the direction you don't want to be going.
Yeah.
They were definitely more impeding than helpful in our game specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure there's a meta. Like, so the board is
a meta.
Well, no, I'm sure that there's a meta in terms of like figuring out like what are the optimal routes for all these different challenges, because there's a lot of branching paths. It's really cool. In the show notes, I'll have a picture of the board game, just because I don't know how I'm going to do the episode art without taking a picture of the board game.
I personally, just talking strategy, was trying to, if there's something that's going to push me back, I was trying to aim for something that would push me back into a phone.
Right.
Yeah, because Superman, please help.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because then they have spinners that you use instead of dice or anything for your movement number, and then also for calling Superman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the cool thing is like there's no one way to go about getting to the assignment. There's multiple places to go for each thing. But
there's definitely choice.
Yeah, there's some choices, and sometimes like case you get caught in a loop with the taxi cabs. And it's just a continual thing.
Same taxi driver keeps taking you back to the same place.
I just see you like 3 minutes ago.
I think it's cool that it's up to 8 players. Yeah. Like that's a lot.
that is a lot of players. Like this could be a very big board game if you wanted it to. Like you could just play through all the cards, have a lot of people playing it. It could be pretty chaotic.
Everyone trying to get Superman at the same time.
Yeah, 8 people trying to get Superman.
Yeah.
There was a couple little like rules hiccups. Again, as someone who plays a lot of board games, that jumped out at me. We were confused as to once you got to your location, what do you do? Because it says you have to call Superman. So we decided that you had to call him and get him to come to you to solve the problem.
Yeah.
It doesn't explicitly say that in the rules, but I think that's a fair
It's
judgment.
a fair rule to make it last longer, especially when it was 3 of us. So it was moving pretty fast with 3 players.
Yeah.
With a full 8, this could get really big because you could have people stealing Superman each time. Like lots of pieces are going to move back and forth. And there's a rule. So 2 players can sit on 1 square, but you can't have more than 2 players. Mm-hmm. So if we had 8 players, we would constantly be losing our turns because if you land on a square that 2 players are occupying, then you have to go back to your starting point.
Another thing it doesn't explicitly state, but I actually felt a little like, oh, I should say this, but I'm not gonna. Me and Jmike had the same last assignment, and we were both there when I called Superman. And I'm like, the story is Superman saved the bridge, and we both witnessed it. Technically, in my head, he should have been able to report on what I was reporting on and got out of there too. Not have to call him to save the bridge again.
Hey,
but I was also like, but I also want to win the game. So, yeah.
Yeah, we also house ruled it that if you had Superman with you when you landed on the square, technically you got it. And bypass that whole mechanics. Like the game is interesting and has some complexity to it, but there's definitely house rules just to make it work from the instructions.
Well, my kind of headcanon is that when you're both racing to the assignment, it's kind of like how Lois and Clark are like always dicking around with each other, like stealing each other's passports or like moving someone's like invitation somewhere else so they can't find it, and then they're kind of stuck there.
Yeah, it definitely felt like after just doing the Fleischer episode, that like
it was the volcano one.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of like backstabbing from Lois is really appropriate for this.
I'm just imagining when you were stuck in the loop with the taxi guy. Like, I go past in my car and he gives me a thumbs up. I'm like, yeah.
It's my byline this week.
So I had no idea what this game was going to be when I first looked it up, or even when we actually started playing it, because I didn't look at the instructions until they came over. It's certainly interesting, and it's definitely a tack. Like, I've talked about, the Superman narrative sometimes works better if Superman isn't your point of view character.
Yes.
That it really helps to have him be the friend of someone who is being in danger. So that way the stakes work, because the issue isn't about Superman surviving, it's about succeeding for whomever like our actual point of view is.
Right.
So I think that this game kind of approaches that pretty well. I like that. I like the news narrative. I think that's a cool idea for how you would tackle a Superman board game.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm a big supporter of journalism in general, and it was really cool to be like, oh, I'm a reporter on the job and rush into the end. Yeah, I like the whole point is to get there. I like the implication that you're the one that makes sure Superman gets there to save the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have a purpose for being there besides reporting. So very cool.
Yeah. Another thing that's cool about this, so in theory, you're traveling around Metropolis. I could see this being an updated game with like a more detailed map that has like kind of like a city layout to it.
With dice.
Yeah, with dice.
Yes, with dice.
With dice.
Or really, I'm thinking in like Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah.
Which could use the spinner still and have it work that way. But then like maybe have like an animated thing that happens for some stuff. Like Superman flying in.
You could add other like Metropolis locations too. Like, you know, like the baseball stadium or like Bebo's bar. And yeah. That'd be kind of fun, yeah. And again, I want little Jimmy Olsen minis and stuff. That'd be cool. And then, of course, at that point, we can incorporate the villains.
Yeah. Well, you could put villains in. You can also put the more robust Daily Planet staff, like Ron Troop, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely have more reporters be represented there. Because the pieces are really just generic, like, sorry pieces.
Yeah.
What are they?
I was kind of looking at their...
They kind of look like a bell. Like a jing-jing kind of bell handle. But, yeah. I don't know what I would say this is. Or what would even make sense, you know? Like, I could see a typewriter as your player piece. A camera would be good. A notebook with like
if we're going like the Monopoly direction.
Yeah. Well, kind of, yeah. On that note, the art of this is not really laid out. There's no listed artist on any of the material that we have. It looks very much like Wayne Boring, early Wayne Boring, especially with like the small details. But it's hard to really say. Like I said, there's no like signed art anywhere on here. And it could just be like, I forget the timeline for when Siegel and Schuster were ousted. So Schuster had like a team of artists that were doing things for him. And it could just be like one of those guys.
Yeah. I was looking, and it's not only is there not an artist listed, there's not even a designer of the game listed.
Yeah.
So
actually, now that I say that, like looking at the muscles on this one kind of looks Kurt Swanish.
Okay.
But it's a weird kind of detail there. But the front cover really looks like Wayne Boring. That's where I took that assessment. So there's only 1-5 on the turn.
So my next turn, I skip my next turn. Yeah. Okay. Stuck in traffic. This Jmike blows past. I'm just honking my horn like, come on! Reporter here! Don't you guys know there's a bridge collapsing? It's probably why there's traffic. They even put the reporters on the cover.
Yeah, they put the reporters on the cover, so you would think. And it's got Lois Lane, Clark Kent, Perry White, and Jimmy Olsen. So I was wondering, like, what's Clark Kent going to do in this game?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I have to go to the bathroom. Be right back.
I have to call Superman for help. Hope he answers my call.
I mean, mechanically, that actually works just fine. You know, he has to jump into the phone booth for a different reason than anyone else, but it does the same effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no, like, signed artist on the front cover that I can see. And it's possible it's different artists.
It could be. They just took different pieces of art they already used and just recycled them.
Yeah. It's nice. The inner art here is the same as this art, but missing the Superman.
Yeah. That's
it has a different Superman.
Yeah.
So what were your expectations going in, guys?
I was expecting this to be a complicated. When you first see the instructions, you're like, what is going on? You're like, oh, this isn't that complicated after all.
Yeah.
This is kind of easy. And then I lost.
I didn't have an expectation. My expectation was that it would be like a Candyland, like a very simple get to the end, because that's what a lot of board games of the time were. So having the different like setbacks, the different ways it worked. It was actually kind of cool having 2 spinners. Not very common in board games.
Yeah.
To have 2 different spinners. Once we kind of got into it, I was like, okay, this might be fun. And I can always tell if a board game, if I enjoy a board game, is if I get competitive while playing it. Yeah. And I got very competitive while playing this, and I was trying not to be like, hey, watch it. And like, you skipped his turn, Case.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know why that happened twice. Like, I just, like, you would think that a circle would not be that hard to break, but like, it was just fucking with me.
I just looked up Transagram, the publisher for it, and they are known for IP tie-in board games.
Okay.
They did Adamant, Flintstones, Gomer Pyle, Perry Mason, Tom and Jerry.
Perry Mason.
And they are also known for producing Tiddlywinks. So, hey, that's cool. Yeah.
I would check out an Adam Ant board game.
Right? Yeah.
Perry Mason Clue.
Oh, man.
So there's, I guess, like a little bit of like a Chutes and Ladders also kind of going on with the forward backwards, but it's not quite the same configuration of a game.
Yeah.
I should also note that like I haven't played Chutes and Ladders in like 25 years. So
yeah, there's definitely paths instead of a set grid. Like, yeah. But it is definitely interesting. I think as far as like design of the grid, as in balance and channeling and making you make tough decisions, it's actually pretty well made.
Yeah.
There's definitely spots where you're like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I should go that way. The only one that ran into me was this path. And you guys can't see it, obviously, as a podcast, but there's no impediments on this path except that backwards taxi.
Right.
And that's the only thing I noticed. Because there's a light over here and stuff. So
yeah. It's interesting. So because you're trying to chase assignments, you're not just trying to get to a set part of the board for everyone. It's what assignment you have specifically. And so there are different optimal paths for each of them, which is interesting. I'm wondering if we really counted out the squares, like if it's the same distance for all possible paths. But like there was a point where you went a different direction just to avoid one of
the impediments. Yeah.
To avoid a light, I think it was when.
Yeah, because I would have lost a turn. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a cool thing. Like I almost did that at a spot too, where the choice was like, well, I could either go the wrong direction here and not lose my turn, and then like pray I get like a 5 or something to like make up for it, or I go the right direction and like lose a turn from the traffic light. So
it was a move of only 2. That's I remember thinking like that's not that big.
What is painful about this game is that 1 and 2 are your most frequent options for your movement, and that just does not seem to be taking you very far, especially when so many 1 steps are going to fuck you.
Yeah, I think part of that is our spinner. It feels a bit worn in spots and wants to stop in certain spots.
It's clearly bent, and there's like scraping on the spinner.
And it's not even center either. Like neither of them are actually center.
Yeah, the colors are way off.
But there are 3 1s, 2s, and 3s. So they should be theoretically as common as each other. There's 2 4s and a 5.
Right.
But yeah, we definitely ran into a lot of 1s and 2s. I had a roll of 3s for a while there. Yeah, well, it was not great at the beginning.
Collusion!
Like, I think the concept of trying to get through a city to a story or to a location is pretty cool and getting back. I'm not sure how many board games are like that, but it seems to be a logical kind of approach to it all. I do really enjoy the news story kind of component. The cards that we draw are really cool. They're Daily Planet cards.
Oh, they're really great.
With like a headline and the assignment and then like a picture of like something that's going on. City crippled by storm. Superman clears snowbound city. New assignment. Force threatened by fire. Assignment 3.
You get ice and fire. That's a bit much. Where is this one? Okay.
I'm a reporter of ice and fire.
Flood threatened city, no longer. It's because of all that melting ice.
I'm just going to note that some of these like kind of feel like related concepts. So like Superman puts out forest fire and then flood threatens city. It's like he's pouring the water. Either one way the water is coming from Superman, or he's taking the water from the flood and putting out a fire with it.
I like that the snowbound city he cleared is immediately next to the dam bursting.
Yeah.
With that, I think it would be great is if this part, the Daily Planet headline, was what you saw when you completed it, not when you're assigned it. Because that's your story. That's what you wrote.
Well, so it is a little reverse because the location on the board shows Superman solving the thing. Yeah. And then the card you pull is like, so for example, I'm holding the one that says forest threatened by fire. And then on the board, it's Superman puts out forest fire. And it should honestly be reversed.
Yeah. It would be great if the front of the card said assignment 3 is all it said. And then when you finish it, you flip it over and there's the story you wrote. That'd be cool. But I mean, that's a minor nitpick.
The board art is actually pretty cool too.
Yeah.
You got Superman clearing out the snow with a giant shovel.
It's so good.
Yeah. The printing's really good. Like there's a lot of color in here that is higher. I don't want to say resolution because like I'm not sure if that's the right word, but like There's definitely a wider like color gamut than you would have seen in a comic book at this time. There's more of a gradient to some of these buildings. There's like a lot more work going on with that.
It's also built to last. I mean, this is 70 years old and looks pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And yeah, the color choices were really good. My only question of the color choices was the square you start off on, it's the only green in the entire map, basically. And I was wondering if that could be a different color, maybe like white or something like that.
Or the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We should note this. So for some, I don't actually understand why there's two decks, but there's two decks. One is blue and yellow. The other one is blue and green. And it's probably worse now because it's a 70-year-old game. But the shade of yellow and the shade of green have like kind of merged together into very much the same looking thing. Jmike, I think you had to be the one to say like that they're two different decks because I honestly did not realize that they were. And I'm not entirely sure why they are because it's just assignments.
Because the same reporter doesn't get the same assignment twice. There's 8 cards in each deck, 1 each assignment.
Oh, I see.
I was sworn like some of these repeat though.
Like, not in the same deck though, I don't think.
Yeah, but like look, like this one was in the green deck, but I can't actually tell for sure that it's green.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know, Jmike.
Yeah, so I'm not I'm not entirely clear about that part. That seems to be just there for the sake of having two different decks.
It could have been one deck.
Yeah.
It would be weird to, report on Superman saving a ship, get back to the planet. They're like, that ship's in trouble again.
Wait, what? We just came from there.
Yeah, I mean, like the headcanon would be it's just two different ships.
Yeah. Superman's really? All right.
Yeah. But otherwise, this is a pretty cute board game. I'm honestly shocked at how enjoyable it was just to play a game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this could be drawn out into a more modern game without a ton of changes to it. Like you would have a more complex board, you'd have like better figures, and you'd have clearer rules for how Superman works.
Yeah, definitely.
But aside from that, I think it's actually really cool. Like once you guys both were finished with your assignment and trying to race back, that was really cool. That was neck and neck right there.
Yeah. The fact that I just got out of there quicker is the only reason I won, basically.
Superman.
And I had Superman for a good chunk of it.
You Lois Laned him.
Yep. But no, I dig it. I definitely thought it was a lot of fun. I like the different disasters, too.
Yeah.
It's very cool. I like the art of him solving them. Like Jmike mentioned, the big snow shovel is very funny. I like this one where he's throwing the bank robber down. He's fully upside down when he's doing it. That's very funny to me, too. So,
I mean, it's all like different things you'd probably see in the comics back in the 50s, too.
Yeah.
The goofy ways he'd solve problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, frankly, this one's pretty close to the Action Comics #1 cover.
That's why I was kind of looking at it. I'm looking at it upside down, so it's a little difficult. But yeah,
I'm like looking at it. When you say upside down, though, I'm like looking at it and trying to figure out the axis for it because that's just a tree. So I think Superman is upright, like the axis is this, and the car is being tossed into a tree.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah. But they're pretty cute. Like the Superman catches a disabled plane with a giant net is very cute, as is Superman clears snowbound city with a giant snow shovel.
Yeah, the net is amazing.
Puts out a forest fire with a big bucket of water. Net. Prevents collapse of bridge. He doesn't seem to be doing anything. He's just racing towards the bridge. Likewise, Superman rescues Lois Lane. It almost looks like he's trapping Lois Lane.
I mean, it is the 50s, and Superman was kind of a dick for a while.
Yeah. And save ship in distress, he's just sort of flying towards it as well.
Another minor thing that I really like is the name, calling Superman. Not just Superman the board game, which would have been a very generic way to label it, but calling Superman, it does actually pretty much emphasize what the game's about. So that's really cool. And it makes it kind of stand out as a product.
It's a pretty cool little board game. I'm glad that we had a chance to play this.
Yeah, totally.
I think after we're done with this episode, I'm going to say we should do another round.
But I'm undefeated, Case.
Even better.
So, Keith, thank you for coming on this episode.
Of course. You're always welcome to make me come on here. Do it for the
That was, I kind of twisted your arm when you were...
No, I love coming on your guys' show. It's great.
Yeah. So where can people find you and follow you?
Okay, so you can find me on Twitter at WHI Podcast Keith. You can find my primary show, We Have Issues, at WHI Podcast. That's my comic book show where I review seemingly every comic book issue that comes out that week. It takes quite a bit of time, but it's a lot of fun. So once again, at WHI Podcast, you'll get an alert whenever a new episode comes up. I put timestamps for each publisher and a list of all the issues that I reviewed. Also, you can find my other show, Jukebox Vertigo, at Jukebox Vertigo on Twitter. That's our musical show. We're on a tiny bit of a hiatus due to a couple of little illnesses in the Jukebox family, but we should be back very soon with an episode all about your guilty pleasure songs, which is highly anticipated for us. So,
a jukebox in the jukebox. Jmike, how about you? Where can people find you and follow you?
I am still on Twitter. Unfortunately, there's like so much chaos going on right now.
Don't get me started.
So much chaos. I'm like, I can't look away, but it's on fire, but I can't look away from the fire.
Right.
But yeah, I'm still there at JMike101. Come find me. Shout out. I'm there.
As for me, you can find me on all the platforms that have @signs, at Case Aiken, except for Instagram, where I am at Quetzalcoatl5 because I'm holding on to my AIM screen name from high school for dear life. That was pretentious then too. So otherwise, you can find the show at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts, as well as a ton of other great shows, such as Jukebox Vertigo, which is evergreen because it's a music show and fantastic. I've been on a couple of times. It's a really fun show to discuss music and building playlists. Meanwhile, you can also find a link to our Discord server either in the show notes or at our website. We've got links all over the place for it. Come chat with us there. It is a great time. The Men of Steel channel has gotten actually pretty active recently, which has been really exciting. A lot of cool energy on the Discord without it being like overwhelming the way some Discords can be, where, you know, we've had Red and Blue from Overly Sarcastic Productions on, and like when we go to their Discord, like you post something and then like it refreshes and it's just gone. You'll never find that post again because there's just so much activity there, which is great for them, but like
exhausting.
It's hard to participate in a conversation there. Just as an example, so the CPOV Discord is great. Like, please come hang out because we've got cool people there. Otherwise, yeah, we'll be back soon with a new episode. And until then, stay super, man.
Men of Steel is a certain POV production. Our hosts are Jmike Folson and Case Aiken. The show is scored and edited by Geoff Moonen. And our logo and episode art is by Case Aiken.
Video games are a unique medium.
They can tell stories,
Immerse us in strange, fantastic worlds.
blur the very boundaries of our reality.
But at the end of the day, video games are fun. Whatever fun is to you.
I'm Geoff Moonen,
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
and on Fun and Games, we talk about the history, trends, and community of video games.
It's a celebration of all the games we play and all the fun we find within them.
And there's so many more games out there, so we hope you'll share in that conversation with us.
Fun and Games podcast with Matt and Geoff. Find us on certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And happy gaming.
I think this thing is stuck because we've got that exact same thing every time. We'll try next time.
Screw you, man. Okay.
In case you are up.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.